We'll call the meeting to order for Wednesday, January 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. This is a special meeting and it's for the second debriefing by UHY LLC CPA auditors for Cottrellville Township. We'll call the meeting to order and we need the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
the Republic
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sherry, can we have a roll call attendance, please?
Tom,
Here.
Mary Agnes,
Here.
Bev,
Here.
is Sue here or not?
She is not.
No. Okay, Sherry, here.
Okay, the agenda approval is up. The second debriefing by UHY LLC by CPA auditors for Cottrellville Township for the financial statement for the year end 3/31/2020 by Mr. Paul Bailey and the accountant Tammy Pitzer. They're the guest speakers. Prior to beginning the debriefing by the guest speakers and questions by the Township Board to the auditors, I'd like to explain why we're having a second debriefing by the auditors. A written request by Kathleen Chu of McKinley Road for another meeting to be held after the COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. It was discussed that if that was that important to her to have it prior to a regular meeting and taped for the Township television audience to hear, why should we wait? So it was suggested that we do it at this next boarding, which we are going to be doing directly following this meeting. We'll have our regular meeting. So please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. As she said, I'm Paul Bailey and Tammy Pitzer here, and we worked with you for a number of years. Hopefully everybody got a copy of your audit report. And I'll just briefly go through it. If anybody has any questions, please stop us. Tammy and I will try to answer your question. If you turn in just past the table of contents, there's a page that says UHY LLP at the top. It also says Independent Auditors Report, page 1 of the report. This is where we give an opinion on whether your financial statements are presented in accordance with general accepted accounting principles. And you have what they call an unmodified or clean opinion. That's what you're striving for. Once the report was done, we submitted it to the Michigan Department of Treasury. They look at the opinion. They're looking to see what kind of opinion. Again, you have what they call an unmodified or clean opinion, and that's the best type of an opinion a governmental unit or a commercial entity can receive. Proceeding along on page 3, gets into something called the Management Discussions and Analysis Letter. It's about a 4 or 5 page letter that just kind of gives an overview of the township and a summary of how the financial statements are put together, as well as some summarized financial information. We're going to talk a little bit more detail tonight than that, but this letter is required to be in your report in order to get the clean opinion or the unmodified opinion. If we turn over to page 7, this is your statement of, starting here is what they call your statement of net position. As I've explained in the past, really your financial statements have 2 sets of financial statements. Page 7, 8, and 9 are the commercial way of looking at Cottrellville Township. The rest of it is the traditional way governments have reported. And the big difference is page 7 and 8 and 9, they include the activities for long-term assets and long-term liabilities. So they include the value of all your equipment, all your buildings, and if you owe any liabilities, bond issues or so forth, they're also included there. I guess what I want to just kind of point out on page 7, the first column is what they call your governmental activities. Basically includes everything except your water and sewer fund. And you can see at the top, it starts out with your cash and everything. But the very bottom, if you were a corporation, your governmental activities would have an equity of $1,794,745. In your business, $4,257,034. The only reason I point this out is a lot of governmental units, especially their governmental activities, may actually be in a deficit if they've promised a lot of legacy cost. You haven't promised any legacy costs, so your net position is pretty positive. Again, probably, a third, half of our municipalities actually, from a commercial perspective, are actually in a deficit, but you don't have that issue. If we turn over to page 10, page 10 is a snapshot of the township as of March 31st, 2020 for your governmental funds. The first column is where most of your activity takes place, your general fund. You can see the cash balance, the investments there, cash of 95,000, your investments of 349. It goes down into receivables. Total assets of 564,284. Then list liabilities, accounts payable, bills that come in after the end of the year that you have to pay. Some accrued expenses, which basically is payroll and payroll related expenses due to other funds or amount that you owe to other funds, for total liabilities of 183,218. Some what they call unavailable revenues. It's money that is owed to you, but it doesn't come in quick enough to be recognized at 22,348, which leaves your fund balance, total fund balance, two lines from the bottom of 358,718 there. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. If you go right next door, you'll see your fire fund. Go back up to the top. You'll see they had assets, total assets of 31,306. They had liabilities of 891. So their fund balance as of March 31st, 2020 was 30,415. Your garbage fund back towards the top, or a third of the way down, had assets of 273,913. Liabilities of $3,799. So their fund balance at the end of March 31st, 2020 was 270,114. They have a column here for all other funds, all the governmental funds. We'll talk a little bit more about them in the back, but you'll see the fund balance of all those funds are about $97,091. So there. Page 11 just reconciles between the traditional way governments, between page 10 and the commercial way. And you'll see that it adds the capital assets and so forth there, just to get reader from one set of financial statements to another. Page 12 is your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance, or your operating statement. Your general fund, you can see the taxes, 137,000, goes down to licenses and permits, intergovernmental, so forth. This year you took in 569,983. Your expenditures by major category: general government, public safety, public works. Total expenses was $444,004. So for the year ended March 31st, 2020, your general fund was to the positive $125,979. So again, revenues over expenditures of $125,000. So a good year. Your fire fund next to it, you can go back towards the top. You'll see it had revenues of $113,241. You had expenditures of $82,826. So revenues over expenditures of $30,415. There was no beginning fund balance because this is a new first year of that fund. So their ending fund balance is $30,415 as we talked. Your garbage fund had revenues of $193,787. Expenses of $189,611. So they were at revenues over expenditures of $4,176. Added to your beginning fund balance, left the fund balance at the end of the year at $270. Again, all those other funds, all your other governmental funds had revenues of $97,380. They spent $40,000, so had revenues over expenditures of $56,757. And we'll break that down a little bit more. Page 13 just does the same thing for the revenue section. Compares your governmental way of reporting to your commercial way. You'll see on a governmental way, you were good total, all your funds, 217,000 to the good. On a commercial way, 248,000 on page 13. Page 14 and 15, in addition to what they call your governmental funds, you have what they call proprietary funds or enterprise funds. And basically it's your water and sewer fund. The water and sewer funds operate similar to a business in that they charge a fee for the services they provide. So they're supposed to be pretty self-supporting. And you can see this page just lists your assets. Starts out with your cash, investments, accounts receivable, subtracts your liabilities, and then leaves what they call net position, or how much equity you would have. Now, these funds include the value of your water and sewer system in there. So really, if you want to know how much money you kind of had, if you look at two lines kind of from the bottom, it's called unrestricted. If you had projects, your water fund would have about 523,493, and your sewer fund 339,455 would be kind of what your fund balance, kind of similar to a fund balance number. Over on page 15 just shows the operating statement for those funds. First column is your water fund. You'll see in total they took in 563,253. You'll see your expenses, your salaries, your water purchases, so forth. Total expenses, including depreciation, of 608,000. Your what they call your non-operating revenues, that's interest earned on bank accounts, special assessments. There, when you take that all in, you'll see a change in net position actually of a negative 43,189. Again, that includes depreciation. So if you add depreciation back, your water fund would have been to the good about $50,000. And you can see if you go right next to it, your sewer fund had a positive $50,685. These funds takes a lot of analysis to really make sure you're covering your costs. Page 16 just tries to tell you whether you had more in your bank account than you did in the year before. It's called your statement of cash flow. And if you go about 2/3 down the way, you'll see a line say that's called net increase, decrease in cash and cash equivalents. Your water fund in the bank account, and some of this is timing, actually had $9,000 less, 9,751. Your sewer fund was positive $76,000. On page 17 is just list what they call your fiduciary funds or your agency fund. And this was your tax collection fund. And it just shows the cash that the money comes in, and then you owe somebody, either you owe another fund or you owe another municipality like the county or the state. Starting on page 18 gets into the notes to the financial statement. This is designed to tell the reader a little bit more about the accounting policies of the township. Goes on for quite a bit. There's quite a few pages of notes. I'm not going to spend your time tonight going through them, but they are required to be, all these notes are required to be in here. If we go to page, let's look at page, give me 1 second. Let's look at page 35. On page 35, remember I said there was a column of other smaller funds. This is a breakdown of those funds. There's basically 4 of them: the Cherry Beach Lighting, the Parks, the Police Fund, and the Road Fund. And if we start with the Cherry Beach, you can see their cash, receivables due from other funds, total assets of $1,327. They have accounts payable of 190. So their fund balance at March 31st, 2020 was 1,137. Your Parks right next to it had the assets of 64,881. Liabilities of 17,938. So they had a fund balance as of March 31st of 46,943. The police fund had assets of 15,310, and that was their fund balance. Also, there was no liabilities. The road fund had assets of 33,701, and again, no liabilities. So that was their fund balance of 33,701. If you turn over to page 36, this shows the operating statement for each of those, or what they call the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance. You'll see the Cherry Beach Lighting took in 1,379, had expenditures of 1,934, so actually spent $555 more than they took in. The park brought in 16,414. They spent 8,113, so they had revenues over expenditures of 8,301. Your police fund basically just had tax revenues this year. There were no expenses in that fund because this year it was paid out of the general fund because this is the first year. The road fund, 64,277 was your revenues, and you spent 30,576. So you were, again, revenues over expenditures of 33,701 for the year. The remainder of the report is just a little bit more detail on things that we've already covered there. There's a couple letters I'll cover, but are there any questions on the numbers that Tammy or I can answer at this time?
So I have everybody muted. If you want to ask any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself.
Okay, there's a couple letters. The first letter I'd like to discuss is something called the Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control. When we do an audit, not only do we verify the numbers and test the numbers in your financial statement, we spend quite a bit of time of checking your, what they call internal controls, whereby we take a look to make sure, hopefully 2 sets of eyes look at all significant transactions. And if we become aware of anything that we need to report to the board, it's got to be included in this letter. And this year we just have a couple things that there. The first one is regarding adopting the annual budget. For all governmental funds, you're required to adopt a budget. There was a couple new funds this year that inadvertently got, the budget wasn't adopted for the fire fund, the police fund, and the road fund. We're just here recommending, Public Act 621 requires you to have a budget before you can spend money. So to make sure you're adopting a budget there. The second one, we're on page 2, just talks about reconciling your detailed water and sewer list, the amount owed for water and sewer bills to your accounting system there. And we're asking that, you kind of look at it on a monthly basis. Well, for the year we audited, there was what they call a lack of segregation of duties. That's number 2020-3. Just regarding your accounting system, whereby usually what you'd like to do is you'd like to have the person collecting money not be able to post journal entries or modify the accounting system. And because your treasurer's department actually had the administrative code to all the programs, you were able to do that. But I think shortly after the end of the year, Tammy, what is that correct? That was changed so that didn't happen. Controls over the investment here, we're just asking at the end of the month, not only when you give the clerk the bank accounts, the cash accounts, to make sure it agrees with the general ledger, that also the investments are included with that, and that they can see it on online on the bank account somehow. It just gives a good check and balance there. 2020-5, the Water Assessment District 1 and 2, there seems to be some commingling of those funds quite a few years ago, and we're just suggesting that you go back. There are some rules regarding how much at the end you can have left over, and there's it kind of looks like could be short on one of them, but I think there's some classification issues. And I know when we met last time, you were having somebody starting to look into that. If you need help, Tammy and I can be more than willing to help you with that. And the final one there, just kind of a technicality. When Enron and everything was going on, there was a push that everybody should have somebody on staff that could draft these financial statements in accordance with general accepted accounting principles. And that's really not practical for small governmental units or commercial units that we deal with. You rely on the auditors to help us do that. It's a widely accepted practice. The cost benefit isn't there. So really there's nothing you can do about that. We just have to highlight that. The second letter is the audit communication letter. Because we're not required to do a meeting like this, we have done a couple of them now, but we're not required to do that. It just talks about whether we had any difficulties during the audit in some of the things if we had any findings or things like that. One of the things this year, as everybody, we're having, to do a lot of the audits remotely. And that's took a lot of patience on your staff of doing, sending us stuff, and our staff. It's definitely not the most efficient way to do an audit. It's really isn't a problem issue, but it did delay a lot of different things, in getting the audits, and most governmental units are a little behind just because of that. It just kind of goes through whether there's any difficulties, and really the pretty boilerplate. The first part of this just talks about whether, on the second page, whether there's any difficulties, and we said there was no difficulties. Again, we just do the remote deal. Corrected and uncorrected misstatement on page 2. We help you close the books at the end of the year and do certain things So we suggest audit entries. The next one is assistance with a commercial set of financial statements. We help you take the way you do your records and convert it over to the commercial way. Most governmental units, especially the smaller ones, require that you have the auditors do that. Disagreements with management. We didn't have any disagreements. At the end of the year, at the end of the audit, after we're all done, your management team has to sign a letter that says, they don't know of any number changes that should be made or any, lawsuits or anything that wasn't properly reflected. That's been common practice for the last 40 years, nothing unusual. And then on the last couple pages, there's just some things that when we get this audit all done, Tammy, Tammy's on staff, she runs the job, comes back and we pull it together. Then her and I meet a number of different times and we go through it. But then we have a meeting and we go through this, in detail with you like we are tonight, talking about that. And if there's a couple things that aren't what they call weaknesses, but just want to consider, we attach it to this letter. They're not what we consider significant weaknesses, but just things that can make your accounting system a little bit better. And they're listed on the next page or so. That's a very quick synopsis of your audit report. I will be happy to answer any questions about the process, about the numbers, about the letters. And Tammy, again, she's on the job site every day when we're doing it, or remotely on the job site this year. Is there anything I can answer or Tammy can answer?
I don't see anybody speaking up, so might as well go ahead.
Okay, well, we appreciate the opportunity to work with you again. We enjoy working with you, and if as you know, throughout the year, Tammy and I are available anytime you need us.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that called in that needs to ask Mr. Bailey anything, or? Apparently not. I guess we're done.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your help. This was
Have a nice evening.
Take
You
care.
too.
Thank you. Good
All
night.
right, bye-bye.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cottrellville Township Board meeting for January 13th, 2021, beginning at 7:30 p.m. If you're joining us a little bit late, we had a pre-bid or pre-debriefing of the financial statement for 3/31/2020 by the auditors. And now we're going to start the regular meeting, and we're calling it to order at 7:31. We'll dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we have roll call attendance, please, Sherry?
Bev,
Here.
Tom,
Here.
Mary Agnes,
Here.
Sherry, here, Sue's absent.
Okay. Thank you. We have agenda approval first. For additions, we have a couple of items. One is under new business, a request for mileage disbursement, reimbursement for Kathy Harris. While she was working in the assessor's office for Barb, and then there's also an Sue Biss Corner. So those two items will be added. Do we have a motion to approve those two items and the completed agenda that you have before you? I need a motion to the effect, please.
Mary Agnes, you dropped off after you said Kathy Harris and the mileage. So we need to have you repeat the second item, please.
Okay, the second item is the resignation letter that came in this afternoon from Susan Biscorner, trustee. And I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented with those two items added. Do I have a motion, please?
I motion it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Bev and a second by Sherry. All in favor signify by saying aye by roll call vote.
Tom,
Yes.
Mary Agnes,
Yes.
Bev,
Yes.
Sherry, yes. Sue's absent.
Okay, excused. The first item on the consent agenda is the approval of the Township Board minutes. Let's do the approval of the actual consent agenda first. It's going to be the Township Board minutes, regular meeting on Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. The approval of the treasurer's report as of November 30th, the investment report, including all CDs and money markets. The approval of the clerk's reports, revenue and expenditure report, periods beginning December 1st and ending on December 31st, 25 pages. The approval of paychecks for the month of December, the gross total amount of $24,544.31. And paycheck numbers are number 2665 through 2689. The approval of accounts payables, $972.71. This is open to be paid through December 1st through the 31st. And then there's the already paid 33 checks in the amount of $80,557.04. Check numbers 20678 through 20710. We have correspondence in the way of the Marine City Fire Authority Department runs for the month of December, plus they give us a compilation of the entire year. That's in your packet. There's also an Ira Township Fire Run for December of 2020. And there's also a copy of a Fifth Third Bank credit card account for December in the amount of $787.27. And that's for office supplies. And it was paid by check number 20712, dated 014/2021. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended for December 9th, 2020.
I'll second.
That should be for January 13th.
Oh, January 13th. I'm looking at the other page.
Okay. All right. And you have the mileage. I should have also added the mileage for Kathy Harris in the amount of $72.24. Can we have that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion to approve the reimbursement for Kathy Harris of $72.24.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a support to approve the consent agenda as presented and including the reimbursement for mileage to Kathy Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. By roll call vote, please. Sherry?
Mary Agnes,
Yes?
Tom,
Yes.
Bev,
Yes.
Sherry, yes. Sue's excused.
Okay, motion carried. The next item is the open session. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the board regarding anything on the agenda.
This is Nicole Hart, Deputy Treasurer. I do have some items to discuss under the unfinished business. I don't know if you want me to talk about it now or when we get to those items.
Well, you got like 3 minutes to give us the gist of what you're trying to say.
Okay, first I have a question. It says resolution A. There was also a B and a C. Are those no longer up for, yes, approval?
Well, when we approved the discussion of the approved amount, it was number 13A. I adjusted it to A because I added B and C. We had someone say that they felt that they should be separated. The new job creation and the salary that was changed in the treasurer's office. However, I put it all together on one item, and I did that for a reason because we named the people involved. So that resolution is only good for those two people. So,
Okay,
but
so
I
as
had
of right
everything
now, there's
together.
only A.
Yeah, well, everyone has theirs in their packet. If they decide they want to, I didn't hear from anybody, but if somebody decides they want to separate them, we can still separate them. But this was the one that was discussed and approved at the last meeting on December 9th.
Okay, then, I guess I'll just go with A right now, but there's more questions if you do the B and the C too. I just have some deep concerns regarding the resolutions brought before the board today regarding the current treasurer and the new position of accountant. I've mentioned these concerns on many occasions before to the board and expressed this with my treasurer's office coworkers and was assured I would be kept in the loop and that the issues were going to be worked out and resolved. This still has not really happened. Proper procedures have not been followed throughout the whole process and were brought up at the last meeting by myself. And throwing together resolutions after the fact are very concerning. I would request that these resolutions be re-voted on as they state much more than the 2 bullet points that were on the December meeting agenda. And how can you say you voted on something in December when the resolution didn't even exist yet?
Well, you have to discuss them. That's how you bring them up. And then we were, if you recall, they directed me to prepare the documents according to what we discussed.
Okay, I know I do not have a say or vote in any of this, but I do urge the board to really read what these resolutions are stating because many parts contradict one another. Parts of these resolutions mean that the duties of the treasurer's office will be completely changed. As I requested before, I would like to be informed as to who will be planning to do what duties. As I am directly affected. I have also requested to see those lists as when my contract was drawn up, we had a full-time treasurer who performed daily treasurer duties and I had a partner in the office. I have not had that in over a year now, but I am still expected to perform these treasurer's duties. I believe being deputy treasurer doesn't mean doing it for over a year, and I would request that my contract be advised as well. In specifically regarding, if we're just talking about resolution 2020-13A, why do we have a resolution that mentions reducing the treasurer's wage and creating a new position all in one? As suggested to you before, these should be kept separate since these two are completely different positions, one being elected and one being hired. Also, Bev cannot vote on her own salary. Only the elected official's position of treasurer even requires the resolution, not the new one that you created. And that's all stated in page 116 of the MTA manual. Is this resolution stating Lynn is to oversee myself and the treasurer while working a minimum of 4 hours per week? Elected officials do not have managers, supervisors, or bosses over them normally, so I'm a little confused at what her role will be. Are you reducing the treasurer's office duties as well? Because that's also stated in the MTA manual. If you are reducing the pay, you need to reduce the statutory duties also. And if that's the case, who's going to be doing them? The resolution heading mentions a new position called accountant. However, the resolution itself does not spell out any such position for Lynn within itself labeled accountant. And again, each position should be separated.
All right, well, I think we went through this already. If you read any of the information, but evidently you didn't. You haven't been here for this week yet either, too much.
No, I've read it all.
I guess what,
Stated it
okay,
at last meeting and this meeting, so.
All right, that clears the board. Lucy, you're
all
in
right.
the 6600.
The idea was that we were gonna
Cameron, you got
work
some
this
more-
out between the three of us. But evidently they haven't got to that point yet because what they're trying to do is get caught up on some things that need attention right now. And with you being not available every day, we have to kind of wait till you're there.
Because I'm always there and my work has been up to date. You know that.
I'm not saying
You're
your
not-
work isn't up to date. I said that you're not available this week.
Yeah. this
And
week- this
before
week-
that, on days when I was there, you were not there.
Yeah, it's been going on.
You
for
were
months.
working from home a lot. So we
And
haven't even
rightfully
had a
so
chance
during
to talk.
COVID. Yep, rightfully so during COVID.
Well, it's just a fact that you haven't been there either. So it's very difficult to do anything when you can't get together and talk.
I am
It's
highly
something that we're
available.
not-
All you have to do is say when you want to be there.
Nicole, we're not going to do this at a board meeting. I told you we would.
Right.
When the three of us.
No, I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies, and I mean, you have another two
All right.
other resolutions
You do-
too, so
That at every meeting, so I think we got your point.
I don't know if
Is
you
there
do.
anyone, any of the board members that have any, questions on what I give you as far as paperwork? The first item on,
I have a question, if somebody will let me. Am I being recognized? Hello?
who is it?
This is, I can't tell if I'm being recognized. This is Kathy Shu, 7801 McKinley Road in Cottrellville. I have something I'd like to say.
All right, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
This is for Bev Kopek. Bev, I had made a complaint to the state and to the Michigan Department of Treasury on the decrease in pay based on your letter supposedly that you submitted.
Not supposedly, I did submit it.
That you submitted to the board. My question is, what statutory duties did you decrease and what elected official did you give them to?
Well, as of now, with Nicole's contract that I finally got a copy of, she basically covers all the jobs under her 3 positions. So we do have to sit down and talk because she's considered an accounts receivable specialist, an office manager, the deputy clerk, and looking at the contract, just about
Treasurer,
everything
not
that the
clerk.
treasurer does is covered by her. So we
But
do have to sit down.
within the department of the treasurer, you are still responsible for everything in that department, correct?
No, not under those other duties. I'm only responsible for her as deputy treasurer. The other duties, the board as a whole is responsible for her.
But what statutory duties as a treasurer, not Cottrellville's treasurer, but the statutory duties of the office of treasurer did you decrease? You have
At
to
this
have
point,
two.
we have to sit down and
Well,
we have
but
to
you've already
make up
changed your pay. You've already changed your pay.
I did it according to the hours because before the township was open many more hours than it is now. So I did it for that reason.
It is
Plus, the
based on
township can use the help with the extra money.
Bev
Yes.
Kopek. When I first started as treasurer, you specifically came to me with the MTA law book and said that all those laws need to be followed. Now, the MTA says that in order to decrease an elected official's pay, you have to have a letter by the official agreeing to it after the office of treasurer has been diminished, not the Cottrellville office, the statutory duties of the office of treasurer. As a treasurer, we elected you to be responsible to that office. If you give up a statutory duty, what elected official are you giving it to? Those are the 2 basic requirements. And those requirements haven't been met. Yet the board has already approved pay since the election, reducing your pay and hiring someone as an accountant. Was that ever posted? And besides, that doesn't even matter to me. Those 2 points that I brought up is what I wanted to bring to the board. That those requirements must be met
Okay,
according
Kathy,
to the MTA and the Michigan Public Act.
you're starting to repeat yourself. What I'm going to ask.
Okay,
you,
well, I just
why don't
want to
you-
make my
why don't
point.
you wait until you hear back from the Department of Treasury or the offices.
Well,
where
I
you-
think what I would like to
Then we'll
say
take
to you,
care of it at
Mary
that time.
Agnes, what
So-
I'd like to say to you is that the board members should consider that.
All right, Kathy, I'm going to ask you to.
Thank you.
Yes, good day. God bless you. Bye-bye. Okay. Let's see what else we got to do here. So does anybody want to discuss this, or do you want to approve what we approved last month? I did
Again,
separate
I
it
think
in
you
the
need
second.
to revote on it, being that you didn't have these resolutions in December, so.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter because apparently you don't like them anyway, so it doesn't matter. I guess it's up to the board if they want to go through this or not.
No, I would just like you to follow the MTA rules.
Okay, well, we'll get a book too, okay? Just let us do what we have to do here, Nicole. All right, you have, like I said, the first one is what we discussed. It referred to her as our, originally as our accountant, and I'd like to switch it to controller if we can. And if you don't like that, we can leave it just the way it is. The other one is the treasurer's salary, a lower amount, with the reduction in the regular office hours. So we also have the letters from both ladies that agreed to the change in pay. That was one of the rules that was brought to our attention.
Well, if they're going to be split, shouldn't they be re-voted on?
We can change that word on 13A to controller, and the rest of it I think is all right.
But you have the 13B and the 13C.
A 13B and 13C would not be required if you take A. If you want B and C, you have to take them both, and then we don't have A. What I did is I took the original one and separated it.
Well, see, A is with them both together. B and C is with each person split up.
Yep. If you'd rather do it that way, that's fine. That was a suggestion that Bev gave me.
Well, it would probably be better if they're split. Then we should re-vote on them.
How do you feel about that, Bev? You still on board?
Sounds fine to me.
Okay, Tom, do you have any objection to that?
No, that's fine with that.
Lynn, can I ask you, can you put Lynn in for a second? Marilyn?
That's fine also.
You want them split or you want them together?
Split. We can split them.
Okay. All right. So then I would make a motion to approve resolution R 2020-13B like boy. This is request to approve the reducing of the treasurer's salary to a lower amount with a reduction in regular hours, which would be shared with a person to be designated as controller. The resolution is subject to certain rules from MCLA. It's also the general law. Township does not hold an annual meeting. We can set these salary for officials by resolution, which is what we're doing. Whereas the salary of the treasurer was $25,500, however, reduced in this manner for the conducting of business until further notice at the discretion of the Cottrellville Township Board and authorized by this resolution. Using the basis of $25,500 divided by 52 weeks is $490.39 per week, divided by 17 hours, which is our regular office hours, equals $28.85 per hour. Our newly elected treasurer has offered to work a minimum of 8 hours per week times 85.85, and that would be $230.80 or $461.60 per every 2-week pay period, not to exceed $12,001.60 per year. The newly elected treasurer is Beverly Ann Kopek, and she's letter to this effect in order to save the township money, leaving the amount of $13,498.40 in the budget. A letter from Mrs. Kopek is on file with her written request in writing. It should be right behind this one. So So now be it resolved that the December regular board meeting held on December 9th, where this was discussed at a Zoom meeting, and that ID number, the motion to approve the person, the hours and the salary for the treasurer of the township as described in paragraph 4, motion by, I would need a motion to that effect. And if you don't mind doing it the same way we did the other one, it'll save us some typing. Motion
I'll
by,
make the, I think I did last time. Motion.
okay, we have a motion by Tom. Do we have a support?
I'll second.
Who is that?
Sherry.
I can't hear you.
Sherry.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. All right, with no further discussion, roll call vote was held. Let's go.
Mary Agnes,
Yes?
Tom,
Yes.
Sherry, yes. Bev would
Abstain.
not vote on herself, and Sue is excused.
Absent, yes. Okay. So the description for the treasurer, there was 3 ayes, 1 abstain, and 1 excused. Motion carried on this matter. Now, we'll go on to 2020-13C like Charlie. This is a request to approve and create a new position as controller in the township to oversee and supervise all financial work performed by the treasurer and her deputy treasurer, accounts receivable specialist, office manager, clerk, and her deputy clerk, and the township supervisor. Whereas the salary for the treasurer was $25,500, however, reduced in this manner for the conducting of business until further notice at the discretion of the Cottrellville Township Board by resolution. I guess we got to take that one out. So we'll have to, by township board, period. Using the basis again of 25,500 divided by 52 weeks equals $4.90.39 per week divided by 17 hours is $28.85 per hour. Our newly elected treasurer has offered to work the minimum of 8 hours per week times that $28.85 or $461.60 every 2-week period, not to exceed $12,001.60. The newly elected treasurer, Beverly Ann Kopek, has prepared a letter in this effect to show that, leaving the $13,498 in the budget. Adding to this resolution, having hired Marilyn DeLugie as treasurer to complete the term of treasurer, elected from a 2016 election, former treasurer Kathleen Shue, who resigned as of May 15th, 2020, DeLugie requested to continue her work of a minimum of 4 hours per week times $28.85 per hour times equals $115.40 per week or $230.80 every 2-week pay period, not to exceed $6,080 per year. A letter was prepared for both the original appointment of May 15th as well as the November 20th, 2020 appointment. After resolution 2020 number 13A, which we don't have, so that'll come out. We're changing the salary to the treasurer of Cottrellville of $12,001.60 per year. Still leaves a balance of $7,497.60 in the budget, and thereby not exceeding the original salary of $25,500 designated by a previous administration. Be it resolved that the December we had discussed this at the December regular meeting held on December 19th and December 9th via Zoom. The motion to approve the person, the hours, and the salary for the controller, Marilyn J. DeLugie, excuse me, of the township as described above in the above paragraph number 4. We need a motion by trustee Thomas Kaufman,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2020-13.
supported by,
I'll second.
okay, clerk Sherry Quinn. With no further discussion, roll call vote was called, and we begin that.
Mary Agnes,
Aye.
Bev,
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Sherry, yes. And Sue is an excused absent.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, no nays, 1 absent excused. Motion carried. All right. Let's go to the next here. Okay, a copy was presented and approved at the December 9th meeting, placing resolution 2014, and that was attached. Now I gotta find it. Okay, this was a request to approve township meeting schedules and calendar for 2021. And it lists a copy of the format that we use, and it's attached to this, and it just says that under this MCLA 4172, the general law township to hold regular meetings at least once every 3 months, and meet additionally as necessary. The township board must adopt the schedule of regular meetings by resolution. And then the clerk puts it in the newspaper as well. So it was posted the next day like it was supposed to. Be it resolved that the December meeting held on December 9th, that was another Zoom meeting. Motion to approve and accept the schedule prepared for 2021 referred to as the Cottrellville Township meeting schedule and calendar for 2021. The motion was made by Beverly Kopek, the treasurer, supported by the clerk, Sherry Quinn. No further discussion was called. If you want to vote on it again, we can. You want to call out the votes, or you want to just sign this thing and get it going? Is there any disagreement on? Somebody's got a puppy. All right, well, Bev, you made the original motion. Did you want to make this one again?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, and we need support by the clerk.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, and the roll call vote is?
Mary Agnes,
Aye.
Sherry, aye. Bev,
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
and Sue is an excused absent.
Okay, motion was recorded as four ayes, no nays, 1 absent. Excused. Motion carried. And this is that the calendar and meeting schedule for Cottrellville Township for 2021 is approved. And the next item is under new business. Request for resolution 2101 regarding the obtaining of the right-of-way permit for all our roads in our township for maintenance in case of emergency water or sewer through the St. Clair County Road Commission. This is an annual permit authorized by the road commissioners, and the cost is waived Cottrellville Township. This is a standard procedure that we do every year. I don't think I need to read it. It just changes the dates to do this. So I'll make a motion to approve the resolution R 2021-01 County Road Commission right-of-way maintenance.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Support by Tom. All in favor signify by saying aye by roll call vote, please, Sherry.
Bev,
Aye.
Tom,
Yes.
Mary Agnes,
Yes.
Sherry, yes. And Sue has an excused absence.
Okay. All right. I'll get this signed and sent off tomorrow to the road commission. All right. We have I don't know if we need to read all this again into the record. It's already been discussed with Mrs. Shu, but she questioned the lowering of the wages for the treasurer's office after she left in May of 2020. When we advertised for a new treasurer, the only person who applied for the job advised that she did not want to work 17 hours per week. This woman was wonderfully qualified. I was to work with her to see what she was interested in. Miss DeLugie was willing to complete the term until November 20th, which was about 6 months at the salary of $115.40 per week, $230.80 every 2-week pay period, for a total of $3,000.40. When there was no one running for treasurer in the November election, Bev volunteered to run as treasurer, but was only interested in half the hours as well. I spoke with Marilyn DeLugie and asked if she would stay on as the accountant, but in this case, the controller, if we would split the hours with the new treasurer, and she agreed as long as she could stay at the same salary. Bev Kopek is being paid $230.80 per week, and the savings to the township is $7,498.40 per year for the $25,500 salary budgeted originally for wages for both women. A letter has been attached, written by these two ladies, giving us in writing their permission to work for less money. So that's just for a matter of record. The next item is we have an update on the failed seawall at 7503 River Road with the conscientiousness assistance of Deputy Clerk Michelle App. She located the land contract holder of the property in Texas, and we were able to explain to him the seriousness of our trouble, not being able to contact the owner. Within the hour, the property owner called and was briefed on the trouble that we were experiencing in front of his home, I believe it's a cottage, within the hour, and he agreed to sign the application for the seawall permit. I prepared the drawings and the application myself between Christmas and New Year's, and I sent it in with the permits for the environmental Great Lakes deal, which is the old Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for permission to place the wall. I have since received his letter of giving us permission to act in this manner, and it's been forwarded to the DNR, so they have it for their record. So that's all I can update you on that. If I hear something, I'll let you know that. Then we'll probably put something together. I know I can purchase the steel at my discount, and we can get the guy to come up with most of that money, and we'll get this seawall put back because it has since washed away, and 1/3 of it. All right, do we have, let's see, we talked about we have a letter of resignation from Susan Biscorner. She was the young lady that's missing from our board tonight. She's been excused absent. So it's dated January 13th, 2021. It's to the Township Board of Cottrellville. On this day, January 13th, 2021, due to health reasons that I have not been able to resolve, I am submitting my resignation effective January 31st, 2021. I would ask you to consider Eric Hayes as my replacement. He is interested in the position and received a considerable amount of votes in the November 3rd, 2020 election. Sincerely, Susan Biscorner, Cottrellville Township trustee. So we'll need a motion to accept this resignation with regret. I'll so move. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept her resignation with regret. All in favor signify by saying aye. By roll call vote, please.
Tom,
Yes.
Bev,
Yes.
Mary Agnes,
Yes.
Sherry, yes.
Motion carried. All right, let's do public comments next. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak again? About anything?
Yes, I would. Kathy Shu, 7801 McKinley Road. still want to bring up the fact that I'm, as a resident, and as a prior treasurer, that I don't believe that the decrease in pay is legal. And I have received, let me speak. I have received information back from MTA and from Department of Treasury to present the information to all the board members, which I did, and to try to seek a resolution that way before taking any further steps. I do think that my concern is that the integrity of the office, and by integrity, I mean checks and balances, is going to be affected when you start decreasing the importance of the checks and balances. And I don't understand if Nicole is performing all of the duties other than what Bev Kopech is required to perform under this new resolution. Why do we need Marilyn DeLugie? If the point is to save money, why don't we decrease all the elected officials that are working in the office down to an hourly rate and have the deputies pick up the other duties? If that's your point, is to save money, but I don't see where that's going to help. Nicole has brought in over $40,000 just in the 4 years that she's been working there by checks and balances. And as treasurer, by checks and balances, I've brought in $27,000 for the township. So for now, you to turn around and decrease the value of that check and balance process is very disappointing as a resident. Thank you.
Thank you. Your comment is noted.
Thank you. I'd like it noted in the minutes, please. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, hi, this is Lisa McKenzie.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, I'm at 7505 River Road. My husband Neil and I have been talking to you about the field seawall at 7503 River Road.
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you to Mary Agnes and to Michelle for working so diligently to get this resolved for us. We really appreciate your help.
You're very welcome. But I'll tell you, Michelle is a very good person for digging things up. She can find anything.
Well, we really appreciate the efforts. I know it's been a very difficult process, and we appreciate any updates you might have.
We'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Has Mr. Hayes got his hand up?
I do, absolutely.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I just want to reintroduce myself to the board. And I talked to Sue Biscorner last week. She advised me that she was going to be stepping down because of health issues. And she also advised me that she was going to recommend me to the board. I did receive a good considerable amount of votes. I have lived in Cottrellville Township for 25 years. My address is 7572 Starville Road. I graduated from Marine City High School in 2004. From there, I went to SD4 Macomb Community College. From there, I went to U of M Flint. I'm getting my bachelor's in social science. I am currently enrolled at Liberty University for a master's in arts in education, secondary education. I do a lot of volunteering here in Cottrellville as well as Marine City. When COVID hit, I actually helped pass out over thousands of lunches to the students here in the area that need them. So I would love, be part of the board and help Cottrellville in any way that I can possibly do. So thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. We appreciate it. Your comments will be noted. Anyone else? Okay. As far as announcements, I did receive an email from Supervisor Jim Andrus of Ira Township, and they're requesting to have us sign another 5-year agreement with the Ira Township Fire Department for the use of their fire department through the Ira Township. He hasn't gotten the document to me. I pulled out last time. It was 5 years old. It expired the end of December, but they weren't ready to put something together until this past week. And what they've asked for is an increase in 2% per year for the next 5 years. And everything else would remain the same. That would be furnishing fire protection from Starville Road west to the township line of Mayor Road. And it gives the section numbers and, you know, certain exact locations. I think it's, here it is. I got the old one with me. Okay, it covers sections 6, 7, 18, and 19. From Mayor Road to Starville, including both sides of Starville Road. And the 2% per year ends up to be, we were paying $654, I believe. And we were paying that twice a year. They want to be paid again twice a year in January and July. And they want to be paid the total of $4,034.34. So it'd be a $2,017.17 biannual payment. So if that's something you want to see in writing first, otherwise it's identical to this one, except that the increase. They haven't had an increase, I don't believe, since like 2006. So I guess we've done real well. So if you, as soon as he gets me the contract, I'll provide it for you at the next meeting and we can vote on it then if you want. And continue fire service. He assures me he won't let us down until it's signed, so. Anybody else got any board member comments?
Nope.
To replace our trustee, Sue, is that something, I don't know what protocol is, but should that be something maybe we should put out on the township web or through the voice, if anyone's interested, so that the board could
do that.
maybe interview them?
Yep, we can do that.
Yeah, because they could give a resume or something.
Yeah. And then after you read through the resume, you can set up personal meetings and we can all be involved in that if you'd like.
I think that'd be a real good idea.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to say? Any other board member? Okay.
How much time do we have to fill that position?
You have 45 days from the last day that she gave us her resignation date as of the 31st of January, 2021. And we have 45 days after that. If we don't choose someone within that time limit, then the governor will choose for us.
Okay, all right.
All right. Anything else?
Those are all on board.
Okay. There's no other board member comments. I entertain a motion for adjournment. It's 8:16 p.m.
I'll make a
I so
motion.
move.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.